Hello there, this is Nancy Lohr, and this is Reselling into Retirement. Thanks for joining us. And Reselling into Retirement, if you haven't been here before, is interviews with people who are around the age of 55 and older who are either reselling and they're still working a full-time job and they would like to retire and they see it as retirement income, or people who are just doing something as a side gig and having fun with it. There's lots of reasons why people are doing this. And also, we want to hear about people's trials and tribulations and successes. So today, I would like to introduce Sara. Sara, thanks for being my guest today. I really appreciate it. And we're just going to take about a half hour here and talk about where Sara is on her reselling journey, because she's working a full-time job, a career position. And maybe you could just kind of tell us a little bit about that at first.
Sure. Thanks, Nancy, for having me, by the way. My role that I work in my full-time job, I'm a vice president of organizational development for a regional staffing firm that employs 120 people and has 20 offices throughout Wisconsin and Minnesota. So that's what I do for my
Wow.
full-time work.
Wow. Yeah, that's I mean, it sounds like it's a not only a career position, but a position that is you're wearing a lot of hats and you're putting in a lot of effort.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you been doing that?
I've been with the company for 26 years, and I've been in my current role since 2017. So I have been a vice president for over 12 years, and my average work week is between 50 and 60 hours a week.
It's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It is. I mean, you get used to it. I know because I'm from the corporate world too. And I know that, you do it, but to fit in reselling, I wanted to ask you this, and I'm going to start asking people this on every interview that I do. What does reselling, what does that mean to you? Or what is the definition of reselling to you?
Reselling is taking a product that has been used already and finding it a new home is really what I look at reselling. So I look at it for obviously to make a profit on the item. So I look for items that are profitable and that I can resell for whatever the market value is.
Do you how did you get started in your reselling journey?
It's really not a very interesting story, but and speaking about retirement, my husband and we lived in I had a condo. I married later in life, and I had my own condo, and when my husband and I got married, we lived on this second floor condo, and we were thinking about having to climb the stairs as we get older and older, carrying all the groceries, everything up the stairs because you're on the second floor, and thought maybe we better look for a house. And I shouldn't say as most, but I change sizes in my clothing, and you never want to give away clothing that you used to fit into because you hope that you will fit into it again. So I had totes, probably 15 years worth of clothes in my basement, and preparing for a move, a friend of mine said, well, why don't you just ship it all to me? And then she thought about that for half a second because she was reselling on Poshmark, and said, no, maybe you better just try it yourself. And so I did, and I started with Poshmark because the shipping was simple, and I thought eBay was so complicated. And that was 3 years ago. So,
oh wow!
Okay. Then I got hooked. I got hooked on it because it was like, wow, this is so much fun. And so I started looking at brands, and the funny thing is I hate to shop, but I love to look for a deal. So this just really fit in well with my personality.
Oh, wow. And that's interesting that you say that, because I think a lot of us, hate to let go of clothing, something that we paid good money for, or something that we really loved, or sometimes we just get an emotional attachment to it. It means we wore it at a special event, whatever the case may be, but we only have so much closet space, and room. And, so you have that decision to make. Do you keep it, thinking that you're going to wear it again, or do you give it away, or do you sell it? There's that's the basic three, where the categories lie. But it's funny how you said that you kind of stumbled into it, stumbled into Poshmark, and it becomes addicting. It becomes fun, and there's a community of people involved in it. Don't you agree that it's interesting to see what other people are doing? You kind of get, you know, sometimes I call it where you squirrel brained, where you kind of go off into another direction, and that happens a lot. That happens with me a lot. But do you basically stick with clothing, or do you find other things that you've been reselling?
So I'm just clothing, and I've kind of narrowed down even further. Well, I used to do shoes and purses and accessories and jewelry. So anything that would fit into what you find in your closet or in the bedroom. And um, but what I don't really like, and I don't want to have to learn all of those things. So I focus primarily on tops, so sweaters, shirts, sweatshirts, and I do sell men's and women's clothing. So that's what I focus on. I do have some jeans and things like that, but um, I learned to niche down from the group that we're in.
Mhm. Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm
And
sorry.
I was just going to say, it's so much easier than when you're going someplace to look in your niche and look at what you know, instead of just trying to find anything that'll be profitable. I mean, you'd have to look through the entire store. Now I can just go to certain sections. I know what sizes sell well for me. And it makes my sourcing time a lot shorter.
Yeah, and that's important with putting in all those hours that you do every week. How do you manage it? How do you organize your time? How much time do you actually think you spend in your reselling business every week?
So I do think that I spend about 3 hours a day on reselling. So, between 20-25 hours a week, uh, on average, uh, between taking photographs, prepping items. uh, I do my shipping in the morning before I leave, and a lot of times I'll do photographs in the morning, and then I usually list at night, after dinner.
Okay.
So that's my current schedule.
Okay.
And I
So
haven't really missed a beat since I've been focused on 10 a day since last December.
mhm.
And I think I only missed the mark maybe 3 days.
Wow, that's to spend only a few hours a day and to list 10 a day. That's a big feat. It really is. I'm doing I'm listing 8 a day, but then I'm banking 3 a day. And so it's about 11, and it takes me, I don't know, an hour and a half to 2 hours, but from start to finish. But still, I mean, there's other things too, I mean, as far as making sure that your titles are correct, and going back on old listings and things like that, that but once you get it down, I think it kind of just flows. So it sounds like you've got a set schedule. I mean, you've got your work day, and then you have your set schedule. You know exactly, after dinner you're going to do this, you're going to photograph, you're going to list, and post. But I think it's important to have a set schedule, some kind of set routine, in order to get it done. And some people are trying to just kind of fit it in wherever, but I don't think that works. Do you?
Uh, no, I think you have to be very disciplined. You have to want to get it done. It's so easy just to say, oh, you know what, this is my part-time or my side gig. I'll just relax.
Mhm.
But it's not going to be what we want it to be, then it's just, it won't grow and it won't flourish. So when I decided to do this and really get start learning and running it like a business, that's when I decided that I have to do a set amount per day.
Mhm.
Otherwise, why bother?
Right.
To be honest.
Are you
So
comfortable with that amount, or do you have plans on growing that in the future?
I do have some plans on growing. I would like to get to the point where I am able to photograph list. So unlike you, I don't have a bank. I am motivated by, I got to get this done every single day. And I've tried when I went on vacation or out of town, it really wasn't vacation, but last week I had taken a couple days off from work to photograph 130 items and then draft all of those items. So I scheduled it for the entire week so I didn't have to worry about listing at all.
Mhm,
But normally I don't carry a bank. And that's one thing that I want to work on
mhm,
for those emergencies when you just can't get it done.
mhm.
So,
Yeah,
um,
that's important because life comes up. I mean, things happen, emergencies happen, and a draft bank is just monumental. I mean, it makes all the difference. And for me, I mean, when I do have a draft bank, I'll have, maybe 20 or, at a time, but I use it all the time. I use them up all the time because things
mhm,
just come up in my life and I take off. I have to leave because I'm still working. And when I work, I go out of town for a few days, which I try to work and I try to source product, which it's like
mhm,
a frenzy. And then, it's just a comfort to know that I've got, maybe a couple days there, but it's not enough. It needs to be bigger than that but it is, you bring up a good point because it is comfortable to know that if something happened in your life that you would not miss a beat. Your store would not miss a beat. And you could just launch, 10 items a day. And you just would have to not be able to ship. So you'd have to put it on time away or vacation mode or whatever the case may be. But still, the fact that you're still buying or not buying, but you're still selling. I mean,
mhm.
where else can you do that? You know?
And get paid every day.
And get paid. I mean,
So,
you have the option to take money out of your eBay account every single day if you've made it. I mean, that I don't know anywhere else. I mean, as being a self-employed person for the last 25 years, I don't know where else you could do that at, It's
so
really,
true.
really nice. But what is your reselling business meant to you and your family as far as extra income? I mean, do you use it to take trips? I mean, some people do. Some people, it's like, well, this is my savings, or this is just extras for my family. Is it like that with your family?
Yeah, so I actually am a stepmother to four children. They're all adults, but two of them have autism and live with us. So I have two adult children that are aged 22 and 26 that live with us. And what the reselling business has done, at least for our family, is shown them the power of hard work.
Mhm.
And so what I'm utilizing my eBay money for um, are the extra things in life.
Mhm.
So instead of using regular career money, is looking at that money to do things for the house, to go on vacation, to buy extra things. I also have two grandchildren. So last year, the eBay business made our Christmas very special.
Mhm.
And so um, as I continue to grow in the business, it really is about things that we want as a family, things that we want to do, but also some financial security. Because I know that anything could happen at any time.
Mhm.
And one of the biggest things for me, oh, excuse me, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Take your time.
One of the biggest things for me is that um, just knowing that I could build something to a full-time income
Mhm.
is really key.
Oh, it is. I mean, it's tremendous. And for me, it means everything. I mean, and I can't believe I didn't discover this years ago. I mean, just because my husband and I, we're both self-employed, and I knew going forward that there was we could our both of our careers are very physical, and I knew we couldn't do this. But all of a sudden, what happens when you turn a certain age, I mean, this has been that way for me and my husband, is all of a sudden it's like one day you wake up and it's like you can't do these things anymore. And I know it sounds weird, and there might have been some kind of a buildup, but I'm like, you're kidding me. I'm not able to carry these because I carry a lot of samples when I go to customers and sell them different products. It's like, oh gosh, I just can't do it. I can't drive 1,000 miles a week anymore. You know,
Mhm.
it's just crazy, but it is a peace of mind knowing that this is something that you can do. I mean, until it could go on forever. And I think it's pretty recession proof. I mean, for the most part, with some adjustments, don't you think?
I would agree. I would agree. And that's why I was looking for something that when 2008, the recession hit, 2008, 2009, I remember having to take a pay cut at my job. And it wasn't alone. I mean, that was the entire executive team.
Mhm.
But that really taught me that there's just no guarantee. And when COVID hit, life was pretty crazy. So it was like, I really want to look into this and get involved with how do I make this run as a business instead of a tax deduction, which it had been for that previous year. Because then I thought, oh, myself, I can use the home-based business as some tax deductions
Mhm.
for us to save some money. And so it's really evolved over the past, I guess it's 4 years now. So, 4 years that I've been reselling.
Mhm. Wow. Wow. I mean, and it just kind of comes up, upon you. It's like, because actually, I mean, I find it a lot of fun. I like the fact that I can get involved in reselling and involved in sourcing products. And now that I have the knowledge that I've gained from this group that we are in, the Reseller Nirvana group, it's like the sky's the limit. I just need to be able to get places where I can get the product that I need. And I know once you put your time and energy into learning about it, and the resources are right there. I mean, the sky is the limit. I mean, you can take it any lengths that you want. And I think that has just been a game changer for me, because I mean, I think that people, as they edge closer to retirement, they want to still do something, but they don't know exactly, what to do. Or maybe there's some people, like you have a full-time career, you like what you're doing, you see it as something, down the road, that you can get into a little bit more, but for right now, it's okay where it's at. You know, I mean,
For sure.
that's comfort.
It does give you a lot of security to know if I needed to ramp it up and I needed to increase the number of listings, I already know how to do that. I know how to ship. I'm still learning so much from the group. And there's so much to learn. I do think that, those of us that are older in the vintage market, we have a little bit of better idea of what is vintage and what isn't and
Oh
what
yeah.
used to be,
Oh yeah.
trends, and you can tell.
Mhm.
We have a lot of that knowledge just from living through it that the
Mhm.
younger generations don't have.
Mhm.
But I mean, there's a lot of security in. Now you're an entrepreneur
Mhm.
in your in your other life outside of reselling, but there's a lot of security knowing that you could do this because there's always product, there's always things, and there's always people love to shop,
Mhm.
and people like to buy things, and they like to get them for a deal.
Yes, they do. And remember the days of, I mean, I know they do this on a larger scale now, the personal shoppers, the people love that. I mean, I'm small enough right now where, and then I'm just built this way anyway. Because I'm in sales and marketing and I've been in sales and marketing for many years, and I take care of my customers. If my customers ask me a question, I try to go above and beyond and ask them more questions like, okay, I see you're looking for this, you're looking for the dimensions on this. I happen to have something that's in that size. I just want you to look at it. Let me know what you think, could go with it. I've sold things. I mean, probably 80% of the time that I put that effort into it, I make an additional sale.
That's
And people,
awesome.
they love it. They're just so happy that I'm paying attention. We all just want somebody to pay attention to us.
That's so
This is
true.
just one way that you can do that. And then you have a customer for life,
Mhm.
and then sometimes I've had people, kind of tell me things about, their lives and stuff that I really like, okay, I wasn't expecting that, but that's okay. They need somebody to talk to. And I'm that kind of a person. But it just can take your business. This reselling business can take you just in any direction that you want to go in,
Mhm.
as big or as little as you want, and I think that's the flexibility is just amazing, you know.
Absolutely. And I really love the thrill of the hunt. And I know that
Me too.
not everybody likes that. But I'm the type of person who will I go to the bins. There's a bins about 45 minutes to an hour away from me. And I love digging through, hoping to find, some treasures and things that I can bring new life to.
Mhm.
So it's really a rush, I think, as well. And it's always changing, and it's so interesting because there's so much to learn. And I think as you get, like, I've been in my business or the job that they work in for 26 years. And sometimes it's just there's not as much of that newness and learning and growth that you can have.
Mhm.
Once you've been doing something so long, you become on autopilot.
Mhm.
And in the reselling business, I'm a newbie and I'm learning and I'm growing, but I feel like it's more of a hobby than a job,
Mhm.
but I treat it like a job, like a business, and I run it like a business. Because if I'm going to do something, I might as well make a dollar or two at it.
Absolutely.
And but why not do something you enjoy? So, there's a lot I think that this business can offer as far as flexibility, as far as being able to work when you want. Um, maybe work hard 1 week of the month, and then you can pretty much take off the next three, with a few exceptions, but you don't have to work as hard if you set yourself up for the success.
Mhm. That is so true. You bring up an excellent point. I'm glad you said that, because you can literally, if you know that you're going to have a really busy month the next month, and you don't want things to stop with your business, but you're not going to have the time to list and to photograph and, do all the things that you normally do on a daily basis, you could take a couple of days. You could list a couple hundred items. I mean, you could just photograph and prep a couple hundred items, and you can put them in your draft bank, and then you can launch those a few a day at a time, just moving forward for the next 3 weeks in the month or whatever the case may be. Or, I mean, you design it. I mean, it's in your hands to make it however you want to do it. And I think that brings something to people who that have been working at a career or a job or whatever for many years, and they know the routine. It gets to be after so many years, most of the time, I mean, I know there's always surprises every day in the workplace, but after a while, you kind of know what's expected of you. You kind of know what you need to do and stuff. But this kind of brings some spontaneity and some excitement back into your world. I mean,
For
it's
sure.
I don't care what age you are. I mean, we always need that. It kind of keeps you on your toes, and that's what I like. I like the fact that I'm going to be 65 next month. I need to be challenged, but I want to be challenged in the ways that I want to be challenged, not somebody's challenging me. I've always been stubborn that way. That's why I can't work for people. I just can't do it. But this is great because being in this group with all of these entrepreneurs and these people that are making, I mean, they're just killing it in the business. And I kind of feel like a little fish, where in my other world, I'm kind of like, the big kahuna. And now I'm
Mhm.
kind of like, oh, geez, I'm not such a big kahuna after all. but
I
but
feel the
that's good.
same way.
And that's okay. I like that, I'm good with that. I don't want to always be the top dog, but it's just it's refreshing and to have something, new, and you could recreate it every single day. Don't you think? I mean,
Exactly.
with the products, like you could wake up in the morning and say, you know what? Um, I might want to change my niche. I'm kind of thinking about looking at car parts. I mean, I know that's way on the other side, but I
Yeah.
mentioned that because they're going to have a car parts call now, and I'm actually interested in it because that's kind of like my husband's area. So I'm definitely going to check that out. But you can do that. You can make that change or not, or
Yep.
all of it. Like I focus on clothing and books because I started out with books in Amazon, and I knew for me, I don't like putting all my eggs in one basket. I wanted to do something on eBay, but every time I did something on eBay, I kept losing the products. I was so disorganized, and that's another thing. It's kind of nice to have to learn how to organize your inventory. I mean, it's everything. And then when I
Right.
saw Chris doing a couple of YouTube videos on his inventory, I thought, and I was below standard in eBay at that time. I thought, you know what? This is where I have to go with this. I have to
Mhm.
do this. And I got sucked into clothing just because I like the idea of clothing sells every day. If you get the
Right.
right you get the right pieces of clothing, they will sell every single day. And it's kind of like a salary plus commission. That's
Exactly.
kind of the way I
Exactly.
look at it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just I find it interesting, how people, with a you have a set time, you go to work every single day. You have to be there. You physically have to be there every single day, and you 5 days a week or whatever the case may be, and then building something after that, that is
Mhm.
completely different, completely different, and very rewarding, and will can go into something in the future. I mean, that's discipline, that.
Yeah, it is. But it's like I said, some people do, maybe some people read a lot, or some people play cards or go bowling, or maybe they knit, or they have some kind of hobby or something that they do. And this is that for me. It's just it gives me all of the things that I want to do, that as far as building something, growing something. It gives me the challenge of being better today than I was yesterday. It gives me something to learn about that I'm interested in. I really just in finding this group was instrumental in my growth, because I started eBay in January of 2021, and I joined the group in September, and it just totally changed everything. Like, everything I thought I knew about reselling was wrong. And I had watched Chris and listened to Chris and Tech online for probably about 9 months before joining the group. And And then joining the group, it was just like, aha, like with the inventory system. I didn't have an inventory system at all. I was cross-posting to 3 different platforms, using a cross-posting. I didn't know how to do a title. I didn't know that you had to list, that you should list every day, all these things. And, my sales are double what they were last year. I know so much more. And in fact, when I went on this business trip last week, it was funny because I was standing in line. I flew Southwest. And so when they line you up, and I was looking at everyone's shoes, and I'm not a shoe reseller, but I'm like, Hoka's, Jordans, I could,
I do that
All
too.
Saints, Rothy's, Teaks, I could see them all, and I'm like counting in my head. I'm thinking, okay, $40, $60, I'm just like, and I was looking at things that people were wearing, and it's just, it is very interesting. And I think it just makes you really knowledgeable. And even for myself, now I know what brands I want to purchase. But I'm gonna find them secondhand. My entire wardrobe right now is all secondhand. And if you talked to me 10 years ago, I would have never, I hated going in Goodwill. So I see the value in that. And it's pretty amazing.
It is. And the direction that we get to with what the tools that they have in the group, in what to buy, what brands to buy, what brands not to buy, which I would have, never really guessed. I mean, I would have, but not to the extent that I know now. And knowing what to pay for them, and what kind of profit they can bring, depending on how long, how fast or how slow that they sell, or you want them to sell, and ways that you can make them sell faster. I think all of that, having that knowledge is just, it's just a game changer. It changes everything. I can't even imagine doing this business without having the knowledge that I've learned from this group. And it's compounding too. I mean, they keep Chris and Tech, they keep bringing more value and more value and more value. And I don't know if you were on the call this morning, but Chris was talking about how he's in this mastermind group. It's like a $6,000 mastermind group. And they give them a lot of homework. And he talks about how taking 10 listings or 20 listings, if you want to take let's say you're selling 10 a day and you want to sell 20 a day, how to do that is looking at some listings and looking at the people who post those listings, and doing some research on what they sell and what their listings consist of, and their title structure and everything that goes into their listing. And I think that's brilliant. I think it's just brilliant, to be able to, who else is doing that? Who else is thinking about doing that? Nobody, and the value that we get from that group is, it just really blows my mind, but, and excited to see what the future is going to bring, So what do you think your future is going to bring? What are some of your goals in the next, let's just say 3 to 6 months? Let's just keep it short,
Yeah, so I would, I have a sales goal that I want to hit. I've already doubled what I did last year, which was my goal, was to double my revenue in 2022 versus 2021. And so that's already been hit. So then, I really do want to work on the draft bank to give me some more flexibility, because I do take time on the weekends. I probably work a little bit more to get all my photographs taken. I just don't get the drafts listed. But I would like to, again, double my revenue in 2023. And, my long-term projection in 5 years, I would like to be a six-figure a year reseller. So that's my 5-year plan.
That's good.
And my husband's a couple years older than me, and I would like to be able to at some point, ditch the regular job and have more of an opportunity to work on our terms with our flexibility when that time comes. So
I think those are great goals. Those are great goals, and I really appreciate you being with us today. And see, and that's something that I really wanted to talk about today is just your particular situation, having the commitment with the career and managing to fit in a reselling job. I don't want to say a job, but just
mhm.
a career or whatever we want to call it, and with not very many hours put in a week, but you're killing it. You really are, on that level. You're really killing it, and you have a goal to take it to 6 figures a year, and it's completely doable, and that just goes to show that it's out there, that the training is out there, the people that want to do this. If you want to do it, there's people out there that can help you, and the sky is really the limit. Or if you just want to just have something, where you're making a couple $1,000s a month and just sticking it in the bank, or using it for extras for the family or whatever. I mean, it's whatever you want it to be. But I'm going to end it here because Zoom is going to probably kick us off. But
All right.
but
Well, thank
anyway,
you, Nancy. It
Sarah,
was a
thank
pleasure.
you so much. And I appreciate having you on here. And if anybody has any questions for us, just put them in the message section, for lack of a better term, on the YouTube video. And we appreciate you watching, and have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.